Welcome to Mystic Chronicles of Old. Tonight, journey to Frankish Gaul, where a shattered crown hums with divine betrayal, its fragments binding a seer to a forgotten god's will. Can she break its curse? Subscribe now, and let this tale of mystery and magic lull you into dreams. In the 5th century, Frankish Gaul stirs under Clovis's reign, its oak forests dense with mist, villages huddled around stone churches. Rivers carve the land, their waters reflecting torchlit forts. Markets hum with wool traders and smiths, while druids' chants echo in sacred groves. Deep within a ruined temple, the shattered crown rests. Iron fragments etched with runes, glowing faintly, said to hold a forgotten god's wrath. Legends claim it grants visions, but binds the wearer's soul to divine betrayal, never to know peace. Aloria, a seer of 26 winters, knows these tales from her mentor's lips. Her silver eyes, sharp as moonlight, read omens in the wind, while her hands, calloused from herb gathering, weave charms. Once a healer in a village, she trusts visions over dogma, her spirit tied to the forest's pulse. The crown's hum haunts her dreams, a whisper of truths she cannot name. Bishop Remigius forbids the temple's depths, his voice stern, but Aloria's visions outshine fear. As dusk cloaks the forest, she moves through Gaul's paths, her heart steady with purpose. Her wool cloak blends with twilight, her boots silent on mossy earth. The air carries a faint tremor, as if the land senses her intent to face a relic older than Clovis's gods. Aloria pauses at the temple's crumbling arch, her breath calm, clutching a bone amulet carved with a raven, her mentor's gift. She is no priestess, but a seer driven to unravel the divine, seeking truths where others see only sacred ruin. The temple's vines sway, torches long extinguished, yet Aloria steps forward, her amulet a quiet anchor. The wind carries whispers of rain, but the crown's hum grows clearer, a beacon of secrets that could shift Gaul's fragile faith, pulling her toward a destiny she cannot yet grasp. The shattered crown is Gaul's veiled dread, shared by elders in firelit halls, its tale older than the Franks' swords. Long ago, a chieftain named Vera wore the crown, seeking visions to unite her tribes. The god's gift came, prophecies of wars, but its price was betrayal, her soul bound to divine lies, her mind lost to endless omens. Priests buried the crown's fragments in the temple, their runes etched with warnings. See and be forsaken. Those who touched it wandered, eyes clouded, serving a god none named. Aloria learned this from her mentor, whose tales wove awe and caution, her voice soft as she crushed Yarrow. Her friend, a smith named Torin, urged restraint, his soot-stained hands gripping hers. The gods don't forgive seekers, Aloria, he said, his gaze heavy. But Aloria, who saw omens in raven flights, felt the crown's hum, its fragments alive in her dreams, showing glimpses of fires and rivers. She saw Remigius's unease, his fingers clutching across as he spoke of the crown's guardian, a shade born of Vera's betrayal, bound to its iron heart. To Eloria, it was a vision to unravel, not a curse. Now she breaches the temple's arch, her bone amulet brushing her neck, the forest's chants fading into silence. The crown's hum sharpens, a whisper of divine truth laced with mortal peril, stirring her seer's heart with dread and resolve. She slips into the temple's outer hall, where moss clings to cracked stone, their shadows shifting like omens. Eloria's amulet pulses faintly, a soft warmth against the chill, her only ward against the crown's pull. She is no warrior, but a seer who trusts her vision's light, her courage tested by a god's forgotten wrath. The air grows heavy, the amulet's raven stirring as if alive, guiding her toward the sanctum where truth and treachery entwine. Shadows coil, the temple's silence oppressive, as Eloria steps closer to the crown's domain, her heart alight with the promise of visions that could reshape her bond with the divine. Eloria navigates the temple's outer hall, its granite walls damp, the air thick with earth's scent. Faded carvings of wolves and stars flicker in her torch's light, their forms alive yet menacing, as if guarding the sanctum's secrets. She has brewed charms here, but tonight the temple feels sentient, its stones humming with a rhythm older than prayers. Her bone amulet glows softly, its warmth a faint pulse at her neck, a fragile shield against the shadows weaving through the gloom. The sanctum lies beyond a stone slab, etched with spiraling runes, their faint shimmer casting eerie patterns. Eloria traces the runes with steady fingers, her breath calm, the slab shifting with a groan to reveal a passage where the hum grows sharper, like a distant hymn. She is no cleric, but a seer drawn to the divine through visions, her steps guided by instinct. The crown's whisper weaves through her bones, a promise of truth and peril. Torn's warning echoes. The crown sees your soul first. Priests spoke of Vera's shade, a guardian born of her lost soul, its will a divine trap. Eloria grips her amulet, its raven trembling, dismissing fear as a cloud to pierce. The passage twists, its walls narrowing, the runes whispering in a tongue older than Latin, their voices echoing the crown's relentless call. The amulet pulses faster, as if sensing the sanctum's heart, a beacon in the temple's gloom. Eloria presses forward, her cloak brushing the stone, her resolve a quiet rhythm. The air grows dense, the hum now a clear melody, echoing the forest's pulse. She pauses at the sanctum's threshold, feeling a presence, ethereal yet heavy, like fog before dawn. Eloria whispers a prayer to the oaks, her voice firm, her silver eyes scanning the darkness. The crown's light spills faintly from within, an iron glow that bends the air, promising visions and ruin. The temple's melody swells, its divine will stirring. As Aloria steps into the sanctum, her amulet and visions her only guides against the crown's enchanted fragments. The sanctum is a vault of cracked limestone, its ceiling lost in shadow, the shattered crown at its heart. Iron fragments on a granite altar, their runes glowing faintly, like coals in a dying fire. The air thrums with a soft, unearthly hum, cold as frost, prickling Aloria's skin like thorns. Runes on the walls pulse in rhythm with the fragment's glow, as if the sanctum breathes. Her bone amulet burns at her neck, its light a faint echo of the rune's fire, a frail ward against their pull. Aloria circles the altar, noting the floor's etched ravens, their patterns ancient and sharp, radiating a force that stirs her pulse. No relics lie here, only the crown's pieces, their runes whispering omens she cannot read, older than Gaul's gods. She has seen futures in dreams, but this tests her spirit, a vision that could bind her forever. Aloria imagines the crown's gift, prophecies to guide her people, a glimpse beyond mortal fate. Yet the priest's tales haunt her, seekers turn to husks, their souls chained to divine lies. She leans closer, the runes glow, weaving visions of battles and storms, pulling at her mind like a river's current. A voice, low and resonant, rises from the fragments. Seer, you seek my truths, but they claim all who see. The air tightens, runes flare with searing light, and shadows spill from the crown, formless yet alive, swirling like ash. Aloria steps back, her amulet blazing, her silver eyes wide but steady. She senses the guardian, Vera's shade, a presence woven into the crown's light, its will a divine force. The amulet pulses wildly, as if urging retreat, but Aloria holds her ground, whispering a prayer to steady her visions. The shadows dance, the crown's hum rising to a haunting wail, as the sanctum judges her intent. Aloria's instinct screams to look away, but the glow locks with her gaze, its visions flooding her mind. A torrent of divine betrayals that threaten to drown her in their endless depths, pulling her deeper into the gods' unyielding will. The crown's runes blaze, and Vera's shade emerges, a formless veil of ash-gray mist, its edges sharp as flint, pulsing with starlight. Its voice, a chorus of whispers, fills the sanctum. You chase my visions, Seer, but they bind all to betrayal. Aloria grips her amulet, its heat scorching her neck. A flickering light against the shade's tide. The mist surges, tendrils snapping like whips, their tips grazing her cloak, leaving singed threads. Aloria ducks behind the altar, her heart racing, as the tendrils carve furrows in the limestone, their touch cold as death. The runes blaze, The crowns glow, twisting into jagged patterns, as if fueled by her presence. Her mind reels. She reads omens, not battles, yet faces a force born of divine deceit. The shade weaves visions into her thoughts. Vera, wearing the crown, her prophecies uniting tribes, her screams swallowed as the god betrayed her soul. Flee or serve forever. The shade hums, its whispers coiling around her will. Eloria, unbowed, raises her amulet. Its light flares, scattering the tendrils briefly, their forms wavering like smoke. The shade pauses, its misty form pulsing slower, as if the amulet's power stirs a lost memory. Eloria senses a crack in its divine wrath, a thread of Vera's regret woven into its form. The tendrils rally, lunging faster, but she weaves between them, her movements guided by the forest's rhythm, her silver eyes fierce. The crown's visions intensify, armies falling, skies burning, threatening to pull her mind apart. Eloria clings to her amulet, its raven now cracked, and chants an oak prayer, her voice a defiant note in the chaos. The shade's mist thickens, its whispers promising truth if she yields. But Eloria resists, knowing surrender means oblivion. The sanctum quakes, the crown's wail deafening as the shade presses closer, its formless mass a wall of divine judgment. Her amulet pulses with the runes, a faint guide through the storm, as Eloria faces the crown's guardian, her spirit a fragile flame against the god's relentless betrayal. The tendrils coil, ready to strike, and Eloria braces for a battle that tests her seer's heart. Eloria sidesteps a tendril's strike, its edge slicing the air as the sanctum trembles, limestone dust drifting like fog. The runes pulse erratically, their iron light fracturing, mirroring the crown's chaotic hum. Vera's shade looms, its misty form pulsing, as if testing Eloria's visions against the crown's divine will. Her amulet burns, its light etching faint ravens on her skin, echoing the crown's ancient runes as if tied to its power. The crown's visions flood her mind, tribes uniting, gods weeping, Gaul's rivers dry. Each image a weight that threatens to crush her spirit. Her seer's instinct rebels, sensing a trap within the truths, a divine lure to steal her soul. The shade's whispers grow louder, offering prophecy if she bows, but Eloria knows the cost. Vera's fate, her soul bound to endless lies. She glimpses Vera's truth, not ambition, but faith in her people. Her crown a plea to save her tribes, her soul betrayed by the gods' deceit. The crown feeds on trust, and Eloria's visions make her its prey. She lunges for a floor raven, scraping it with her amulet's cracked bone, its ash sparking against the stone. The crown's hum falters, a discordant note, and the shade shrieks, its mist contracting in pain. The tendrils waver, their strikes slowing, as if the raven's disruption weakens the crown's hold. You cannot silence my truth, the shade hums, its voice fracturing. Aloria, unyielding, traces another raven, her amulet guiding her trembling hand, its light a beacon in the storm. The crown's glow dims, its visions flickering, tempting her with one last image. A united Gaul, gods restored. She resists, her visions her shield, knowing the image is a lie to claim her soul. The sanctum groans, the air thick with divine resistance as the crown fights to keep her, its iron light pulsing defiantly. Aloria chants, her voice a steady rhythm, drawing on the forest's pulse to ground her. The shade's tendrils lash out, but she weaves through them, determined to break the curse or perish in its glow. Her heart a battlefield of faith and defiance against the gods' relentless will. The sanctum quakes, cracks splitting the limestone as Aloria traces another raven, her amulet's ash-streaked bone sparking against the stone. The crown's hum fractures, the shade's tendrils dissolving into wisps, their misty forms fading like embers in rain. Vera's shade pulses violently, its ash-gray mist coiling tighter, its whispers now a desperate plea. My crown holds my faith, seer. Free it, or we both serve. Aloria pauses, her breath sharp. She found the amulet in her mentor's grove, carved with a raven, never suspecting its power. Now it is her only weapon against a divine trap. She raises it high, its light cutting through the shade, forcing the mist to writhe in agony, its form fraying at the edges. Visions clarify. Vera, driven by love for her tribes, wore the crown to unite them, her soul snared by its runes, her faith birthing the shade. Aloria's pulse races. She is no priestess, but her seer's heart senses a path. She circles the altar, etching a final raven with the amulet's scorched tip, its light carving deep into the stone. The crown shudders, its iron glow collapsing, its visions fading to silence. The shade lunges, tendrils flaring, but Aloria weaves aside, her movements fluid, honed by years of reading omens. The tendrils graze her arm, leaving icy burns, but she stands firm, her silver eyes blazing. The shade's voice cracks. You'll doom us to nothingness. Aloria, resolute, presses the amulet against the crown's fragments, its light flaring white, searing the iron runes. The fragments crack, a single fracture splitting their heart, and the shade screams, its mist unraveling into sparks. The sanctum's air clears, the runes dimming as the crown's power fades, its divine grip loosening under Aloria's unyielding will. Her amulet crumbles to ash, its power spent, but she feels the forest's pulse steady, as if the land breathes with her. The shade's last whisper fades, a sigh of release as Aloria stands alone, her seer's spirit unbroken. The crown's betrayal no longer a threat, but a lesson carved into her heart, guiding her path forward. The crown's iron glow dies, its cracked fragments dull, the sanctum silent as the runes fade to cold stone. Vera's shade is gone, its mist dissolved, leaving only a faint hum, like a distant storm's echo. The air lightens, the oppressive weight lifting, as if the temple exhales. Eloria's amulet is ash, scattered across the ravens, its remnants a reminder of the divine battle she waged. The visions are gone. Vera's desperate faith, Gaul's fate, the gods' silence. Eloria exhales, her hands trembling, her calloused fingers brushing the burns on her arm, now mere scars. She is no savior, just a seer who faced a god's betrayal and lived, her spirit tempered by the crown's chains. The sanctum groans, cracks widening, urging her to flee. She slips from the chamber, navigating the passage with careful steps, the air now soft with dawn's warmth. Outside, Gaul stirs. The forest bathed in gold, its villages unaware of the temple's fall. Eloria knows the priests will find the crown broken, its curse lifted, and weave tales of divine mercy, never suspecting her hand. Her reward is not glory, but clarity, a truth too vast for hymns, a secret she'll guard in silence. She pauses at the temple's edge, her silver eyes tracing the horizon, her heart steady, but heavy with the crown's lessons. The forest feels alive, its pulse stronger, as if Gaul whispers gratitude for her unseen triumph. Eloria breathes deeply, the scent of moss and earth grounding her, her spirit tied to the land she freed. Eloria blends into Gaul's morning rhythm, her cloak singed, her arms scarred, the ash of her amulet a hidden weight in her pouch. Villages hum with life, smiths hammering iron, oblivious to the temple's ruin. She finds Torin at his forge, his eyes widening at her weary face and burnt wool. "You're alive," he says, his voice soft, offering her a horn of mead. Eloria smiles faintly, tossing him a rune stone from the temple. She remains a seer with deft hands, even after divine trials. She sidesteps Torin's questions, sipping mead, her silence a shield for truths too heavy to share. The priests will spin myths of the crown's end, never naming her, and she prefers it so, seeking only the forest's quiet rhythm. At a market stall, she hears a child recite Vera's tale, now laced with gods and ravens, the truth fading into legend. Eloria laughs softly, her silver eyes glinting, the scars on her arm her only mark of a night that reshaped her soul. Torin probes, his voice gentle but persistent, but she shrugs, deflecting with a nod, her heart guarding the crown's secrets. The forest's air feels cleaner, its divine weight lifted, as if Gaul breathes with her victory, a silent song in the dawn. Eloria returns to her herbs, her hands steady, brewing charms for the sick, her spirit anchored by the forest's pulse. The oaks loom, their branches calm, while the curious, or lost, seek the temple, chasing tales born of her quiet triumph, unaware of the seer who faced a god's betrayal in the shadowed heart of the land. Her visions both her guide and her burden. Eloria settles into Gaul's rhythm, visions sharper, the scars on her arm a silent testament to her trial. The priests seal the temple, their prayers praising new gods, blind to her role in their miracle. The shattered crown's legend grows, villagers weaving tales of a nameless seer who faced divine betrayal, their stories blooming with ravens and storms, though none name Eloria, who fades into the forest's hum. She listens, her calloused hands steady, amused by myth's swift growth, its truths buried in her silence. Some say Vera's soul found peace, freed from the crown's runes. Others claim the iron shards hold dormant power, waiting for new eyes. The forest breathes easier, its rains softer, as if Gaul honors her unseen deed. Eloria dreams of the crown's visions, burning skies, silent gods, but wakes calm, her seer's heart firm. Torin teases her for secrets, his forge glowing, but Eloria offers only smiles, her silver eyes guarding a truth too vast for words. The scars fade, but their weight remains, a reminder of the divine line she crossed. The forest's pulse guides her, its whispers carrying new omens, while seekers chase the temple's myths, blind to the seer who tamed its curse. Eloria brews her charms, her spirit deeper, forged in the crown's betrayal, her hands weaving futures as the oaks watch. The village's fires burn, their glow a quiet hymn to her triumph, as she heals in silence, her eyes tracing the winds for signs of the gods' next will. Thank you for joining Mystic Chronicles of Old. Subscribe, hit the bell, and comment. What relic awaits discovery next? Embrace the unknown, or heed the gods' silent wrath, for their truths linger in Gaul's forests, whispering of mysteries yet to unfold. Thank you for exploring Mystic Chronicles of Old. If the shattered crown's betrayal stirred your soul, subscribe for more mystical bedtime stories. Comment below what relic calls next. Until then, let Gaul's forests guide your dreams.